Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learn English with us. We're very happy you're here with us today. Whether you're listening while relaxing at home, walking outside, driving to work, or practicing your English, thank you for spending this time with us. Today, we're talking about a simple but powerful topic: hope in small moments. Hope is something we all need. Sometimes life gives us big reasons to feel hopeful. But often, hope comes from small things that happen during ordinary days.
That's such a beautiful idea, Sara. I think many people imagine hope as something huge. Maybe getting a dream job, buying a house, or achieving a big goal. And those things can certainly bring hope. But when I think about my own life, most hopeful moments are actually very small. Sometimes it's a good conversation. Sometimes it's hearing good news. Sometimes it's simply realizing that a difficult day is finally getting better.
I completely agree. And listeners, I'd like to start with a question. When was the last time a small moment made you smile? Maybe someone held a door open for you. Maybe a friend sent you a kind message. Maybe you understood an English sentence that seemed impossible a few months ago. Small moments like these can change our mood more than we realize.
That reminds me of something that happened recently. I was having one of those days where everything felt difficult. Nothing terrible happened, but nothing seemed to go right either. I spilled coffee, forgot an appointment, and spent 20 minutes looking for my keys. By the afternoon, I was feeling frustrated. Then a stranger smiled and said, "I hope your day gets better." It was such a simple thing, but somehow it changed my mood.
That's a wonderful example. Sometimes people underestimate the power of kindness. A few friendly words can stay with someone for the entire day. In fact, listeners, maybe you've done something kind for another person recently without even realizing how much it helped them.
That's true. We never really know what someone else is going through. That's why small acts of kindness matter so much. They create little moments of hope.
Speaking of hope, Adam, what does that word mean to you?
Good question. For me, hope means believing that tomorrow can be better than today. It doesn't mean everything is perfect. It doesn't mean life is easy. It simply means believing that positive things are possible.
I love that definition. Hope doesn't ignore problems. Hope simply reminds us that problems aren't the end of the story.
Exactly. And I think that's especially important for people learning English. Sometimes learners feel discouraged. They forget words. They make mistakes. They struggle to understand conversations. But hope says, keep going. You're improving, even if you can't see it yet.
That word "yet" is very powerful. Instead of saying, "I can't speak English," try saying, "I can't speak English well yet." Instead of saying, "I don't understand native speakers," try saying, "I don't understand them yet." One small word changes the whole feeling of the sentence.
That's true. It changes a problem into a possibility.
And possibilities create hope.
When I was younger, I thought progress had to be fast. If I didn't see results immediately, I felt disappointed. But now I understand something different. Most meaningful progress happens slowly.
That's such an important lesson. Sometimes we expect huge changes overnight, but life doesn't usually work that way. Progress often happens little by little.
Kind of like learning English.
Exactly like learning English.
One day you learn 10 new words.
Another day you understand a conversation.
Then you successfully use a new phrase.
Then you watch a video and understand more than before.
Each step seems small.
But together, they create something amazing.
That's one reason I love hearing success stories from language learners. Often they don't even realize how much they've improved until someone points it out.
That's true. Have you ever noticed that learners are sometimes harder on themselves than anyone else?
All the time.
They'll say, "My English is terrible."
Meanwhile, they're having a full conversation in English. It happens more often than people think.
Listeners, if you're understanding this conversation right now, that's already something to be proud of. Maybe you're not fluent yet. Maybe you still make mistakes. That's okay. You're learning.
And learning takes courage.
It really does. Every time you practice speaking, you're doing something brave.
even when it feels uncomfortable.
Especially when it feels uncomfortable.
You know what gives me hope?
What?
Seeing people try again after failing.
I love that answer.
Because anyone can feel confident when things are easy. But when someone struggles, makes mistakes, and still keeps going, that's inspiring.
That's where real growth happens.
Exactly.
I remember meeting an English learner who was afraid to speak. Every conversation made her nervous. But she made a promise to herself. She would speak English for just 5 minutes every day.
Just 5 minutes?
Just 5 minutes. It didn't sound like much, but she stayed consistent. 5 minutes became 10. 10 became 15. Eventually, she was having full conversations.
That's an amazing example.
And it started with one small, hopeful decision.
That's the thing about hope. It often begins with very small actions.
Not giant actions,
Not dramatic actions.
just small steps.
Small steps taken consistently.
Speaking of small steps, have you ever tried learning a skill that seemed impossible at first?
Oh yes, cooking.
Why am I not surprised?
Because you've heard my cooking stories.
Unfortunately, yes.
The first time I tried cooking, I followed the recipe carefully. At least I thought I did.
30 minutes later, the kitchen looked like a science experiment gone wrong.
That's not very encouraging.
Wait, it gets worse.
I accidentally added salt twice,
Oh no.
and somehow I managed to burn something that was supposed to be boiled.
I'm not even sure how that's possible.
Neither am I. But here's the interesting part. I kept trying. Slowly I improved. Today I'm still not a professional chef, but I can cook a decent meal.
That's actually a perfect example of today's topic.
Really?
Absolutely. You didn't become a great cook overnight. Hope helped you keep practicing.
That's true.
And the same idea applies to almost everything in life,
Including English.
including English.
Listeners, let me ask you something. What's one small thing you're hopeful about right now?
Think about it for a moment.
Maybe you're hoping to improve your English.
Maybe you're hoping to reach a personal goal.
Maybe you're hoping for good news.
Whatever it is, remember that hope doesn't require certainty.
It only requires possibility.
That's one of my favorite ideas.
Mine too.
You know, Adam, one thing I've noticed is that hope often appears when we least expect it. Sometimes we spend so much time looking for big changes that we miss the small positive things happening around us.
That's very true. And I think our brains sometimes focus on problems more than progress. We notice what's missing instead of what's improving.
Exactly. Imagine someone learning English. They might think, I still make mistakes. But they forget that 6 months ago, they couldn't have this conversation at all.
That's such a good point. We compare ourselves to where we want to be instead of where we started.
And when we do that, it's easy to miss our progress.
Listeners, here's a little challenge. Think about your English 6 months ago. What can you do today that you couldn't do then?
Maybe you know more vocabulary.
Maybe you understand more videos.
Maybe you feel less nervous speaking.
Maybe you're listening to this podcast more comfortably than before.
Whatever it is, that's progress.
Real progress.
And progress is one of the best sources of hope.
You know, that reminds me of a funny experience.
Oh, this should be interesting.
A few years ago, I decided I wanted to learn how to grow plants.
That's a nice hobby.
It sounded like a nice hobby.
Uh-oh.
Exactly. The problem was that every plant I bought seemed to have a very short life.
That's not supposed to happen.
I know. People would ask, "How's your plant doing?" And I'd say, "Let's not talk about it."
Poor plants.
Eventually, one plant survived.
Just one.
Just one. But that one little success gave me hope that maybe I wasn't completely terrible at it.
That's actually a great story.
Really?
Yes, because that's exactly how many people feel when learning something new. One small success can completely change your attitude.
That's true.
Sometimes all we need is one positive experience,
One conversation,
one achievement,
one encouraging comment,
one good day.
and suddenly things feel possible again.
Speaking of encouraging comments, what's the best advice you've ever received?
That's a difficult question. I think one of the best pieces of advice was, don't quit on a bad day.
I love that.
Me too. Because everyone has bad days. Everyone feels tired, frustrated, or discouraged sometimes.
But bad days don't always tell the truth.
Exactly. A bad day can make a temporary problem feel permanent.
That's such an important idea.
Sometimes the best thing you can do is rest, take a break, and look again tomorrow.
And often, things look very different the next day.
Much different.
Listeners, if you're having a difficult day today, remember that one difficult day doesn't define your future.
It doesn't define your abilities either.
Especially when it comes to learning.
Learning is messy.
That's true.
Sometimes we understand everything.
Sometimes we understand almost nothing.
Sometimes we feel confident.
Sometimes we feel confused.
That's normal.
Completely normal.
I think social media can make this difficult sometimes.
How so?
Because we often see people's success stories.
That's true.
We see the final result.
Not the struggle behind it.
Exactly. We see someone speaking English fluently.
But we don't see the years of practice.
We don't see the mistakes,
The embarrassing moments.
the difficult days.
Every success story has those moments too.
Absolutely.
That's why I think patience is so important.
Patience and consistency.
Small efforts repeated over time create amazing results.
It's not always exciting,
No.
but it works.
You know, Adam, there's something beautiful about small moments.
What's that?
They happen every day.
That's true.
Big life-changing events are rare.
Thankfully, I don't think I could handle life-changing events every Tuesday.
Fair point.
Life is already exciting enough.
But small moments happen all the time. A smile, a kind word, a new idea, a little progress, a peaceful morning.
And because they happen so often, we have many opportunities to find hope.
That's exactly right.
Maybe hope isn't something we have to search for.
Maybe it's something we learn to notice.
I really like that thought.
Me too.
Listeners, as you're listening right now, maybe take a moment to think about one good thing that happened today.
It doesn't have to be something huge.
Maybe you finished a task.
Maybe someone was kind to you.
Maybe you learned something new.
Maybe you're simply taking time to improve yourself by listening to English.
That's already something positive.
And sometimes recognizing those small positive moments is the first step toward feeling hopeful.
You know, Sara, something interesting happens when people start paying attention to small positive moments. They often discover that there are more of them than they realized.
That's true. It's almost like buying a new car and suddenly noticing the same car everywhere. Once you start looking for hope, you begin to see it more often.
I like that example. Hope isn't always absent. Sometimes we're just too distracted to notice it.
And modern life can be very distracting. There are always things demanding our attention. Deadlines, responsibilities, worries, notifications on our phones.
So many notifications.
Yes, so many notifications.
Sometimes I look at my phone and wonder who needs to contact me this much.
Is it important?
Usually it's an app reminding me to do something I already forgot to do.
That's not very helpful.
Not at all.
But it does remind us of something important. We spend a lot of time focusing on what needs fixing. We don't spend enough time appreciating what's already going well.
That's a great point. Hope grows when gratitude grows.
I completely agree. When we notice good things, even small good things, we feel more positive about the future.
Listeners, let's try a simple exercise. Think about 3 good things from today.
They don't have to be big things.
Maybe you had a nice meal.
Maybe you got enough sleep.
Maybe someone made you laugh.
Maybe you learned a new English word.
Maybe you finally understood a phrase that confused you.
Little moments matter.
They really do.
You know, one of my favorite things about teaching is seeing those moments happen.
What kind of moments?
The moment when a learner suddenly understands something, you can almost see it on their face. They go from confused to excited in a few seconds.
That's a wonderful feeling.
It is. And it's one of the reasons I love helping people learn.
I think everyone enjoys seeing progress, whether it's their own progress or someone else's.
Progress gives us evidence that change is possible.
And that's really what hope is about.
Exactly.
Speaking of progress, let's talk directly to our listeners for a moment.
Great idea.
If you're learning English right now, we want you to know something. You do not need to be perfect.
You don't need a perfect accent.
You don't need perfect grammar.
You don't need a perfect vocabulary.
You just need to keep moving forward.
One conversation at a time.
One lesson at a time.
One day at a time.
That's how improvement happens.
Sometimes learners compare themselves to native speakers,
Or to advanced learners.
and then they feel discouraged.
But comparison can steal your motivation.
Instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to your past self.
That's much more useful.
Ask yourself, am I improving?
Not am I perfect?
Because perfection isn't the goal.
Communication is the goal.
Connection is the goal.
Confidence is the goal.
And confidence grows through action.
Not through waiting.
That's such a good point.
Sometimes people wait until they feel confident before they speak.
But confidence usually comes after speaking.
Exactly.
First comes action.
Then comes confidence.
First comes practice.
Then comes improvement.
First comes effort.
Then comes results.
That's true for almost everything in life.
Including my cooking.
We're back to cooking again.
It's an important life lesson.
Is it?
Absolutely. If I had given up after my first terrible meal, I would never have improved.
That's actually a good example.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I waited a long time for that compliment.
Before we finish today's episode, I'd like to return to the idea that started our conversation.
Hope in small moments.
Yes, because I think it's easy to believe that happiness, confidence, or hope only come from major achievements.
But life isn't made of only major achievements.
Most of life happens in ordinary moments,
Ordinary mornings.
ordinary conversations,
Ordinary days.
and sometimes those ordinary moments become very meaningful.
Maybe someone says exactly what you needed to hear.
Maybe you solve a problem you've been struggling with.
Maybe you realize you're stronger than you thought.
Maybe you discover that you're making progress after all.
Those moments matter.
They really do.
Listeners, as we come to the end of today's conversation, we'd like you to remember one simple idea.
You don't need to have everything figured out today.
You don't need all the answers.
You don't need to solve every problem immediately.
And you definitely don't need to be perfect.
What you can do is keep going.
Keep learning.
Keep trying.
Keep believing that positive change is possible.
Because often the future becomes brighter, one small moment at a time.
One small act of kindness.
One small success.
One small step forward.
One small reason to hope.
And before you know it, those small moments start adding up.
Into confidence.
Into growth.
Into progress.
Into a better future.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today.
We always enjoy these conversations, and we're grateful that you're part of this learning journey.
We hope today's episode encouraged you to notice the good things around you.
Especially the small ones.
Keep practicing your English.
Keep believing in yourself.
Keep looking for opportunities to learn.
And keep finding hope in the little moments of everyday life.
Thank you for listening to Learn English with us.
Take care of yourself.
Stay positive.
Stay curious.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Goodbye, everyone.
Have a wonderful day.
And remember, if one surviving plant gave me hope, imagine what you can do.
Goodbye, everyone, and keep moving forward.